So SypherPK found himself in a little bit of hot water, a little bit of drama when it came to one of his UEFN maps. I actually don't know whether we're going to be talking about a brand new map that Cypher made or if people found a problem with an existing one. Regardless, there was a little bit of an issue, and the Fortnite community, the Fortnite UEFN community, was lashing out at SypherPK. We're going to cover the entire thing for you, and of course, I'm going to give my thoughts as we work through this, and we're going to take a look at what the online Fortnite community had to say about this. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guide with many YouTube channel. So let's start off with the initial post calling SypherPK out. Hey, at Fortnite Create, your top map creators and content creators are abusing your system and exploiting players. What's the excuse for this one, SypherPK? Creators who do things like this, should be banned. How many kids do you think were misled into this UEFN creator's profile? So this is a map either owned by SypherPK or SypherPK has his name and his promotion on it. So, and this is something that SypherPK has gone viral for calling out in the past is, tricky things like this. You get a rainbow net and you have to open the creator profile. What we're going to get into, and I'll talk about it a little bit more in just a moment, I know that it actually doesn't say you have to like and favorite, but I am on the side of the team where it's like, okay, well, this is suggestive. A lot of people were definitely misled into doing this action. This is not what Epic Games wants. This is against TOS, and it's understandable for people to see these types of things and go, okay, this is what I have to compete with. Why do other people get to break the rules? Why do people like SypherPK get to break the rules? I get all of that, but there is another side of it. But before we talk about it, let's continue on over to the next post by Pez over here. It's disgusting that at Fortnite Create is rewarding creators like SypherPK who have had scammy methods into his island. Cypher claims the island wasn't made by him, but in the news tab it says otherwise. Instead of promoting innovative grow a garden maps, Epic's promoting this. And of course, like, I'm kind of the opinion, like, yeah, you know what, Epic Games is going to promote Cypher's map, whether he does wrong or not. We'll talk a little bit more about it again, but we're not just done yet because SypherPK did end up replying to the tweet and said this: I want to take responsibility because my name is on the map. The map was created by an outside studio and I was brought on to market it. Definitely wasn't my intention, and I will be more thorough when doing collaborations moving forward. This sign and others have been removed. And then Pez ended up responding to this. So you nor your team even took the slightest look at the island before having this marketing collab because it's literally right in the lobby and anyone would see it first thing. As far as I know, there was no further conversation Cypher had beyond this. And unfortunately, it is a little bit important to note too that the people are not seeing SypherPK's reply over here, and there's a little bit of mixed feelings on this one. Okay, like, we'll continue on. Somebody ended up replying like this reply over here, and this is on Pez's thread. I didn't know that you could do this. You can hide replies from the original post author. So I had to actually go to SypherPK's profile to see his reply, which is a little bit unfortunate. And I wish that, and honestly, guys, I don't know anything about Pez. I don't know anything about their work. So I'm not like crapping all over them. I just think that if you call somebody out, if you make a big deal about this, I think that if somebody replied to it, you should just leave it as is. You should give people the opportunity to defend themselves because it is a little bit dishonest and nobody is going to actually go to SypherPK's profile. Like, I'm probably the only one that did that. Nobody's going to go over to his profile and look for, hey, maybe he responded over here. Now, the reason why Pez did end up hiding is because his response seemed pretty fabricated. That doesn't matter, and I do agree with that. Like, what is Cypher supposed to say? That was a typical PR reply, but at the end of the day, I do believe the right thing to do was to actually let Cypher end up replying. So that's important to note. Cypher did end up taking accountability for it. And again, there was another reply over to it. Someone asked why they were hiding it. I didn't even know that you could do this, but Pez ended up responding to that and said, because it's BS and he knows it, he's blocking everyone, calling him out for it. I've seen a lot of people actually posting the SypherPK blocking them, and I don't imagine that people are photoshopping it. So I would guess that SypherPK is going out blocking people. I mean, it's a weird situation in general, man. I think people care a little bit too much about this. I think that SypherPK, he gave a good response. It probably was what he was just supposed to say. And it's important to note, I'm not calling out Pez. I don't know anything about Pez. I don't know anything about Pez's work. I'm sure that if they're making a big deal about this, then their work is probably pretty good and abides by all the TOS, right? It's understandable to want a fair ecosystem. I get why people are a little bit up in arms about this, but I want to talk a little bit more about it in general. Here, take a look at this, guys. Brand new to the channel. We tried it on the Clenday video. We have another camera that we can turn into because now I can look at my other monitor with some notes because there's a lot of times where I go through videos and I'm like, oh man, I forgot to bring up that point. So let's just be honest and logical about this entire thing. Yes, what happened with the CypherPK map was wrong, even though you technically, or he didn't technically say, like, you must like and favorite this map. It was still pretty slimy in my opinion. It was clearly designed to push people in that direction, and it's not easy to see, or not to see through, you know? If we're being real, like, if another creator did that exact same thing, we'd call it out too. It's suggestive, manipulative, and honestly, just not in line with the system and how it should be used, and it's flat out against Epic TOS. I get why everybody is upset about that. But we do need to slow down a little bit. We need to think about this logically, and I would imagine a lot of people agree with me on this. I seriously doubt that CypherPK even knew about this map. And I think, I forget what he exactly said in the post, but you get my point. This guy isn't spending like every single day of his life coding maps. He's a brand, he's a business, he has people and teams handle things for him. People are making maps on his behalf, and I bet good money that this probably slipped past him, and like it would slip past anyone in his area, in his form of work, you know what I mean? But that is totally not, like, it doesn't excuse him for responsibility. If you can say something like, yeah, but it's still under his name, you're right, that doesn't excuse it. He still holds responsibility, and that's exactly what he did. His response wasn't defensive. He didn't dodge. He didn't try to redirect or pass the blame. He said he would do better, and that's all that you can ask for a situation like this. I personally think that Epic Games should dish out punishment for these things and make examples out of these people. But we all know that's not going to happen, especially to like a major creator, someone to the status of CypherPK. That's not going to happen at all one little bit. So what more do people want about this? What is the end goal here? There's like, it's done with, man. To shame him endlessly for making a mistake that he acknowledged and fixed, we keep piling on him until we feel like he's learned his lesson. We all know the majority of this is just farming likes and a nice like crackle, good old hit of dopamine there. Get that nice little boost, that little rush of endorphins. A lot of the outrage around this wasn't really protecting the UEFN ecosystem. It was about clout. It was about dunking on someone with more influence. It was about, and again, it was about that Twitter dopamine and getting the brownie points for being the hero in a fight that rarely affects the average player, I would say, or the average UEFN developer. People weren't just calling it out. They were celebrating it, cheering for CypherPK's downfall. Everybody likes to tear somebody down. Everybody likes to get the high ground. Everybody likes to pretend to care about fairness, integrity of UEFN system. I'm not saying that about Pez. Again, I don't know anything about Pez. I don't know, and I'm sure there's great UEFN creators out there. But what matters here is Epic Games, because this isn't just a CypherPK problem. It's a platform problem, and it's an Epic problem. Like I said, I would like to see immediate and maximum punishment for these types of things. That's important. Make examples out of people. UEFN has exploded in popularity, and with that comes an entire new layer of complexity. Monetization, map rankings, algorithm, all of anything that kind of goes along with this. So if Epic Games is going to push a platform like this, then they need to moderate it properly, set clear rules, enforce them, remove any systems like this, and not necessarily wait until people form a mob on Twitter about it. We've seen this time and time again. Someone finds a loophole, exploits it, gets caught, apologizes, and gets crucified anyways. That's the Twitter way. But that's not how you build a strong ecosystem on Epic's side. That's how you build a Fortnite Twitter community that really lives up to the name. Oh my god, this community is so toxic. Like, it is a toxic place, and it's living up to it. I'm not saying, also, before you say it, I'm not saying that we shouldn't call stuff out. Accountability is important, but there's a difference between accountability and obsession. Cypher made a mistake. He owned it. He's moving forward, and everybody else should move forward about this entire thing too. I don't get it. So if you care so much about UEFN being healthy, here's a crazy idea. Work on your own maps. Build something better. Focus on what you can control, because tearing others down on Twitter doesn't help the ecosystem. It feeds egos. It farms likes. Like I said, it gives everybody that little rush hit of dopamine that they like to see, and I wholeheartedly believe that a lot of people pretend to care about the issue. But it's very important to note that I am on the side of the people like, CypherPK should be punished for this. CypherPK should take he did take accountability for it, but Epic Games needs to enforce the rules for these types of things. There is no excuse for it whatsoever, and you can't just have your top creators abusing the system. You see this happen a lot, so it's understandable, again, for people to be upset about this thing, and I'm on their side, but I think that people just get way too obsessed with him. Like, so what do you want Cypher to do? He already took the responsibility. He already took accountability. He already did more than a lot of other people would do. But people are still obsessed with him and looking to take him down. But at the end of the day, things like this are still very important to call out. Like when somebody does something wrong, tag Fortnite Create on Twitter, but we don't need to make like some massive, giant deal about it like people are. That's what I believe when it comes to this situation. And I'm somebody who, like, I see people break TOS on YouTube, especially when it comes to AI. What am I going to do about it? I'm going to just sit down and I'm going to focus on my own work. I'd be shocked if there was history of me even calling anybody out, besides like making a video about something trending going on. You know what I mean? But you get the point. That's my take on it. But of course, it's not just about how I feel about things. I wanted to take a look at what the Fortnite community had to say about this as well. By the way, guys, like and subscribe if you have not already. And by the way, how did you like the brand new camera? I love it, man. I feel like I got my point across so much more when we have like, oh, and I just used the wrong OBS scene. I meant to do it like this. I'm getting used to my stream deck still, guys, over here. I meant to go fade over here, fade over there. Look at that. You're all the way over there. But I mean, like, I need to play around with the placement a little bit. Again, it's important. Like, I feel like I flowed so much better because I was like, okay, talk about this, talk about this, talk about this. And I just like, it's nice to have that. You know what I mean? I feel like I could really get my point through a little bit more because there's so many times where I upload videos and then there's something that I forget to touch on. I'm like, ah. So we'll try this moving forward. Of course, I'm always open for feedback on the channel. Let me know what you think down below. Anyways, I ended up posting this over on X over here. Gonna make a video on this too. If you have any thoughts, drop them below and I will include some in an upcoming video. Thank you for your time. Again, if you would like to join the conversation, follow me over on X at Clen YouTube. You can find two links, one the link tree at the top of the description or the direct link to X within the description down below. Like I just said, like and subscribe. Let's see what the Fortnite community had to say about this today. So, Sherlock Holmes had this to say. To be the devil's advocate on the map Cypher called out, he never said that you get the Thunderbolt if you like the map. He assumed that. Similarly, the map you quoted doesn't say you will get the mutation, just that your chances increased. While yes, there is some room to talk about the psychological and mental trickery, legally, Epic can't really do anything about it. It's in the public's hands. Oh, and there's the obvious hypocrisy of this whole thing. To be honest with you, I'm kind of more on Pez's side about that. It was suggested enough where I think it should be against TOS, and I don't know if Epic Games can actually legally do anything about it, and brings up a good argument, but I just think that it's a little bit of a slimy tactic, okay? Trickster had this to say. Funny thing is, Cypher probably has no idea this is happening because he doesn't make the maps himself, but it's 100% on him for not checking his maps before they are finished, because if he did, no way something like this would be on the map still. Yeah, I highly doubt that after everything that SypherPK has called people out for, and it's important to note again that I'm not excusing this behavior. I'm just like, there's probably a reason for it. After him going viral so many times for calling people out on their behavior and their maps, especially with that entire thing with the Guernsey situation, I don't think that Cypher would have intentionally done something like this, but could be a Mr. Beast situation too, where it's like, hey, I'm just going to do this, go viral a little bit, and then people know about my map, okay? Emmanuel had this to say. Cypher probably doesn't even care. He's a millionaire and likely doesn't work on his maps anymore. He just hires random guys who think they can exploit the system. He needs to learn his place. Yep, I'm with Emmanuel on that. He does not care about anything. You know what he's probably doing, to be honest with you? Every single person responding to him, because he's got Epic Games. He's in Epic's good grace, right? He probably looks at him like Epic Games is like, he probably has employees over at Epic Games like, can you believe these guys over here on Twitter? And I'm not saying they're wrong, okay? I'm not saying that. But they probably laugh behind closed doors about all these people being obsessed. Like, oh my god, his map's on Discovery and mine's not, okay? I talk at this to say, I don't think Cypher actually knows this happened. He doesn't make the maps, although he should definitely check his maps to make sure nothing exploits the systems like this. Pez ended up replying to that and said he needs to hire better project managers who know his morals. That's true. He should do that. And hopefully he does do that moving forward, and I do find myself agreeing with iTalk over there. Let's continue on. And this was a reply over to the SypherPK tweet, but again, this was unfortunately hidden. Are you really that detached from your collaborators? Makes me wonder how detached you are from making your own YouTube videos. You probably don't even review them before publishing. You just get a third party to do it for you. Yeah, that's what, spoiler alert, that's what the vast majority of your successful YouTubers are doing. I don't really see anything wrong with that. If people are looking for more of a personal connection, then stop watching the videos, but I don't think he's a bad guy or anything for doing that. He probably is very detached from his content, to be honest with you. PBJ had this to say, I don't really know. If it's getting by, it's kind of frustrating that bigger brands can use it and they'll get canceled, but the smaller creators can use it because no one cares about them. Fortnite needs to fix this all around. I doubt Cypher even knows about it though, because he doesn't even make them. That's a very good point by PBJ. And Epic Games needs to have the moderation system. First of all, they need to be on the ball with moderation, like I spoke about. But secondly, they need to apply the same rules for everybody and not just like have like some people get away with it, some people get banned, those types of things. RJ Leaks had this to say, Y'all are glazing in these comments. PK said he removed them. What else do you want this man to do if it's already published? Like he said, he doesn't make these maps, and he also said that he's going to check them better before publishing. Y'all glaze something that is so unnecessary. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think people are just doing a little bit too much. They called it out. Cypher responded. I think everybody should just leave it at that, to be honest with you. There was another quote tweet by PBJ over here. These guys are just here to cause trouble. Cypher apologized and explained, yet he still wants to complain and talk trash. Super annoying. Lots of worse stuff out there than this. At the end of the day, this is a post that is very, very true. But like I said, I do think that Pez took it a little bit too far. I do not know anything about Pez. I'm not saying they're a bad person or anything. Perhaps they're just passionate. Maybe this is something you can learn from. I don't know. So I just don't want this to be out to be a hate piece or anything like that. But there are definitely a lot of people out there that do not care about this ecosystem. And they're just looking to get that nice hit of dopamine. Watch the likes come in. Get all of that moral superiority. You know, that's very important to note over here, okay? A lot of people are doing that. Safia Creative had this to say, why did you call out other creators' practices before the maps when you're showcasing them to have some kind of forbidden content? Please, Fortnite Create, take action on this. And I would imagine, again, like Cypher said, I would imagine that the map by now has been fixed, but it's an entire, it's a situation that it's just, again, on Epic Games. I'm not looking too deep into it, to be honest with you, but as always, I'd love to know what you guys think down below. Thank you very much for watching. Why don't you check out some more creative UEFN drama that we took a look at on X? You can check that out right here. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching the video, guys. Take care.